Hi there, Cancer. This is Carrie at Wooing Nature. Welcome to January. I'm glad to have you here. I sure am. So I am going to be reading today from the I-Ching. I decided to take the I-Ching out because I-Ching gives you a very nice broad view of things and also very circumspect. And it also gives you really great positives and negatives, or like admonitions and advice, or encouragement and admonitions. It gives you a nice balance of those things. So I want to start out 2021 that way because I think everybody is really excited about 2021 happened, just because 2020 appeared to be so difficult. And I do say appeared to be. But we always want to keep a balance of everything. So sometimes we can be very, very anxious to get out of a difficult situation that we forget that there's work to be done to get out of it, or that there's something that needs to be noticed in relationship to that. We always want to have a good time, but when things aren't happening so great for us, then we're like, we want to get out of it. But you still need to learn from it. And so I feel like that's what 2020 has been about. But 2021 is here. Thank God we're ready for it. That's true. I'm not going to even be in denial about that. So I want to just look at 2021 today. So this January reading is about January, but more than January, it's really about the whole 2021. Because I want you to be able to go back and refer to this video as the year goes on to kind of let it be a sort of a guidepost for you. So I'm going to read from Klaus Holitzka's I-Ching. These are cards. We also do your yarrow and coin readings in addition to the card readings, but this is a little bit different system, but it still kind of relates back to the I-Ching text, which I will be reading from today for you. So your card is Liberation, number 40, Liberation. You shared this actually with your Gemini friends. So this is about liberation for you. So I'm going to read the passage, and then we're going to look at your changing lines, and then we're going to go from there. Liberation says, difficulties are lifted and tension dissolves. The effects are liberating, but there's one more thing needed to clear away remaining misunderstandings. Just as thunder and lightning relieve the tension in the atmosphere, so liberation releases the soul from fear and constrictions. Enjoy your newly won freedom. Don't get tangled up in the past. Forgive all those who you hurt or who hurt you when you were at rock bottom. This will help everyone who is involved. You could avoid attributing blame in relationships too, and instead provide a new impulse for love. Letting go of rigid attitudes and worn out behavioral patterns allows extraordinary potential for personal growth. So this is about liberating. This is about liberating yourself at a deeper level, and we'll get to the changing lines in a minute to give you a little bit more a deeper perspective about that, or some additional advice about that. But it looks at liberation from the standpoint of freeing yourself, which is really all liberation is. Like, and we can all sit and think about situations that we want to be freed from, the things that we feel trapped by, the situations that we feel like are holding us down or holding us back. What this passage is saying is that get beyond that and really go in and start to get rid of anything that is a misunderstanding that you may have had, anything that's causing tension in your life. You want to release that, and you can do that through conversation, mediation. It talks about not being tangled up in the past, forgiving those people. That can certainly liberate you from a lot of things, and avoid attributing blame in the situation. So for me, Cancer, it looks like this may be more or less you feeling like you're either a relationship or a situation that you're in is causing you to be entrapped. But what you need to do is go back and look at those things very carefully. Examine where there is a misunderstanding. Examine where there's a need to forgive. Examine where there's a conversation that needs to be had to release tension. And don't apply blame to it, because when you don't apply the blame, it's going to force you to look at what you are doing or what decisions you have made that have either landed you in the situation or that are calling you to the situation for a lesson. And ultimately, there's going to be a lesson involved, I'm sure. So it says, let go of rigid attitudes, worn out behavior patterns. You're going to have to make some changes in order to receive this liberation or have this liberation, have the experience of liberation. You're going to have to do that. So again, this theme, liberation, is the theme for 2021, not just January. Remember, the reading I'm giving you today is really an overview of the year to come. And so this year is about you liberating yourself. So take your time with this. You have the whole year to liberate yourself. So take your time and think through your processes and be gentle with yourself, Cancer, more than anything else. So let's look at the changing lines. We've got changing line in number 1, also in number 4, and number 6. So I'll be reading lines 1, 4, and 6 for you. Number 1 says, difficulties are overcome. You can enjoy freedom and peace and look forward to the future. The progress you make will be long lasting. Okay, so that's very good news for some of you. That means that your process in this liberating process is over. Like, you've done the bulk of the work. So for some of you, you've already done this. For some of you, you may still be processing through that, and that's okay. Wherever you are, it's fine. Line 4, free yourself from selfish people, even if they may seem indispensable. Shuck. Oh my. Free yourself from selfish people, even if they may seem indispensable. I second that emotion. Otherwise, people who can really be trusted will avoid you. So the people that you can truly trust, who are not about themselves, Cancer, they'll come to the surface once you get done dealing with the selfish people. Line 6, you will overcome a powerful opponent if you plan well and act according to the realities. Now, I want to say this, when we're talking about an opponent in this case, we're really talking about the person that you have the conflict with. The person or the people that you have the conflict with. That's what we're talking about. You have to plan well and act according to the realities. Well, now, this is not a fantasy world. This is not you making up things about yourself or other people. So what this requires of you is to be brutally honest. And Cancer, I think that you can do that. That's not your mess, really. To be brutally honest with yourself, to be totally honest, to be totally vulnerable in that honesty, and not try to sugarcoat or not try to paint a picture of who you are in the situation that's always favorable, and also not trying to paint a picture of somebody else that's always not favorable. It really is about coming to the truth and dealing with the reality. So plan well with this person and deal with the reality. Inner obstacles can also be courageously swept away now. So the good news is 2021 is going to be liberating. That's the good news. And the even better news is that it seems like you have the tools that you need to work through that liberation process. So I feel good for you. Good deal. If the year theme is liberation, that works for me. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to look at your year coming up, month by month, January all the way to December 2021. We're going to see what's happening piece by piece, month by month, just to give you a general sense of what you can expect or what to look out for, or so that you'll know like how your year's going to flow. All right, so at the very beginning in January, we're starting off with the King of Swords. King of Swords is you're thinking on your feet. You're You're understanding your terrain, you're understanding your territory, and you know how you're going to move forward, which we all know that you're going to be liberating yourself. No matter what's going on, you're not going to put yourself in a box. And thinking, this is a thinking man's game. So you have to be thinking, you have to be on your feet, and that's the way that you're going to balance yourself, right? Because Cancer is a feeling being more so than a King of Swords being, okay? You're a feeling being more so than thinking. You feel however you feel, that's how you feel. But this time in January, it's asking you to really use your mind, use your brain, because you have to balance out something. And then also the King of Swords is about expression. It's about speaking, it's about communicating. So it's asking for you to do some expression and to express your feelings. Remember that conversation that you might need to have that might be tense. Remember when it was saying for you to be, what is it? Not be disciplined, but it says something else about this. It'll come back to me in a minute. Well, it's going to come back to me because I'm going to read it. And that's what's going to happen there. All right, so this is what I'm referring to. Planning well and acting according to realities. That's where it was resonating for me. All right, so that's January. February, you've got the Four of Cups here. You may be feeling a little bit you may be feeling a little disappointed in the choices. It could be the choices that you have made in relationship to your love relationships, marital relationships, family relationships, friends relationships. This is all relationships, okay? In February, you're really feeling that, but that's because you have to face that reality. Again, that's a part of being realistic about what you got going on. So we got the Prince of Swords 2 coming in March. Prince of Swords. Okay, so what I'm seeing here, January to March, is that you're coming out strong, right? But then when you face certain realities, you feel like there's been a setback of some sort, or you feel like you've been set back. You've not been set back. What it is that you are now getting ready to move forward with the new information that you have, okay? Because you're going to need to do that anyway, okay? So if you feel like you were... you feel like you were strong and you were coming out the gate and you were doing all the stuff, and all of a sudden it feels like it drops off February and March, it's only because you had to face certain realities. So it's not really a negative. It's just a regrouping of thoughts, and now that you have the new information, because you're going to be getting new information. So now we're on to April. And in April, you're balancing yourself out. You're balancing your life perspective with everything else that's happening in your life, your responsibilities, or your wants, your dreams, your desires. You are looking for change in around that time. You don't want to keep doing the up and down struggle. And so, in order to do that, you're going to have to balance some certain aspects of your life have to come to balance. And so just ask for it. Ask for the balance that you need around that time, so that you can get the balance that you need, Cancer, because you will need that. All right. And then coming up in May. In May, you're feeling a little stronger. You're feeling a little stronger. You're getting a little more, you're falling back into your feeling, your strength. You're feeling your power, basically, is what you are. You're coming out a little stronger during that time. There's an ebb and flow in life. It doesn't matter that, you can't always be the King of Swords, Can't always be that, Cancer. Sometimes you have to peel it back. You have to go forward, then you have to go back. Then you have to balance, and then you have to see where you are now. Okay, so I had to think my way through some processes in the first quarter of the year. In the second quarter of the year, you're starting to get your footing back. You're starting to feel more a little stronger than you were before. And then when June comes in, then you're starting to get more. It's the movement. Movement is happening. Change is happening. The efforts that you've been putting forward are starting to reach fruition. In order to do that, though, you need to bring these two challenging sides together. You need to get everything pointed in the right direction. That's where some of this conflict is. I feel like, Cancer, what you're doing is that you've made some decisions that have entrapped you, or that have you've put yourself in a cage, really. You put yourself in the situation, really, is to be honest with you. And in order to free yourself, you have to be honest. And I think that that's where this King of Swords comes in, because King of Swords is not just honest, but they're also objective. And they're known to be able to lead well because they have sound judgment. But the reason why they have sound judgment, you know how they say judgment is blind. They just hear the facts and say, okay, this is what has to be done. That's the approach that you have to take toward your own liberation, Cancer, because if you don't, it's going to elude you. And that's what bringing these energies together is about. It's like, you're a feeling person, so you want to do things according to feel, but then you have to balance it out. That's what this is about. You got to balance out how you feel with what is logically important, or what logically you need to do in order to not feel like you're caged in. That's kind of that. It doesn't get any better than that. Here we come again with the truth. Here we come again with more swords. So you're going to be, this year, you're going to have to, you're going to be, it's going to feel counterintuitive to you. It may feel a little counterintuitive, but you're going to have to approach your life from some basic, okay, this is what has to happen. This is what is. This is the reality. This is what I want. This is what I feel like is trapping me in. I'm doing my own inner work around that, forgiving and not blaming, and I'm doing that part of the work. But out of that, there's decisions that have to be made. And I feel like that's what's happening with these swords that are popping up, in January, in March, and then again in July. Looks like July, August. You're having to put your foot down, stake your claim, say what it is you want. And not just say what it is that you want, make the decisions that ensure that what you want is happening. All right, so around the time of the harvest moon, this is when, right before we go into the fall, you're having an experience where you feel trapped again, okay? And this is, I'm not surprised about it. And the reason why I'm not surprised about it is because if your theme for the year is about liberation, and you don't have to, in some ways, address it head on, then it wouldn't be about liberation at all. So this is the month for you to do it. This is August going into September, really around the time of the fall equinox. So once we start moving into fall, then this is when you can anticipate having to address that issue and where that issue truly comes from. I want you to do it all along, but it looks like to me there's some steps toward that, and the steps are outlined January through August. All right, so in September, we have the Princess of Pentacles. So this is some good news for you. This may be this could be a gift. This could come in form of a gift. It could come also in the form of work or something that is stabilizing and grounding. It could be money. It could be a job. It could be something that gives you some grounding and some stability, and I think that you need that. It's a blessing. That's what it looks like. It's like a blessing comes in somewhere around between the end of September going into October. So like now the equinox has passed and we're fully into fall, and you're starting to see some blessings come through for you. And I feel like you deserve them. I almost feel like this is like a gift for like just hanging in there. One of those types of things. It's like, you needed something to boost your morale after you were dealing with this situation, and it came right through for you. God never leaves us alone. He never leaves us without, and he always knows what we need, even our emotional needs. So we got Six of Cups here. This is a relationship. This is a renewal. For some of you, this is going to be a time that you're going to be spending with your children. This is um, late October into November. You're going to want to spend time with your children because they're going to give you a childlike frivolity. That's what I'm seeing here in this card. There's a childlike spirit that needs to be renewed in you, and being around your children can do that for you. For those of you who don't have children, this is about you bringing up the inner child for yourself. Maybe find a friend that you have a lot of fun with, a lot of adult fun with too, that will help bring your spirits up, because that's what's needed. So that's what's going to be called for at that time. Okay. So I feel like this fall, like, when the fall is happening is when you're going to get a little release and a little relief from the task at hand of feeling liberated or liberating yourself. It's just a reminder to be gentle to yourself when you're doing that deep spiritual or deep emotional work. You have to be gentle with yourself too. You can't just grind it. All right. So as we go into the long snows moon, that's late November into December. We have love coming here. For some of you, this may be something that was sparked up in this relationship that you had in the previous month. But I am seeing you being able to connect to another person. It could be even to the person that you had the conflict with. You never know. You never know. But either way it goes, the work, doing the work, liberating yourself, forgiving, not blaming, all of that stuff is going to bring love into your space toward the end of the year. And everything you're doing leading up to it is leading to that point. And then in December, you've got the fire just in time for winter. You might need something to warm you up, and why not warm yourself with your own passions, with your own excitement, with your own joy, and with a sense of power and strength that you come with. So that looks good to me. That looks great to me. So a good year for you, I think. It's a year of balance. I think that I always end up seeing balance in these. This is what amazes me about doing these kind of readings, because you can see how spirit and how the energy of the universe is working with you. It's like, okay, do this, push along, do this work January, February, March, and then balance out. And then April, May, and June, get your strength back, get your power back, bring things together. And then you may have a moment, and that moment, like I said, is coming around the time when fall is coming in, when you may second guess yourself, but there's something coming right behind it to let you know that you are not forgotten, that the work that you're doing is being rewarded in some kind of way. And I feel like that's what's happening for that September, October period of time. And just let yourself be from there on out. So intense first half of the year. Second half of the year is going to be a little bit more, it's going to ease you up a little bit more. And then after you have that fall experience, you're going to see things lift, and you're going to start to feel the joy and the love again in your life. All right, Cancer. I'm very happy for you. I hope that this reading has been something that you needed to help you get through 2021. And if you need to take a deeper dive, you know where to find me. I'm at wooingnature.life. As always, I hope you have a great day. You have a great January, a fabulous 21, and I hope you're having a wonderful life.